Hello and welcome. In this video, you will discover everything you need to know about the power of silence and why silent people are successful. For some people, silence is a natural part of life. For others, it seems to be something they almost have a deep hatred for. Some people simply feel the need to fill silences with chatter, while the other person might be content to simply listen to them. Now, there's nothing wrong with liking to converse and laugh with others, but sometimes silence can be a powerful tool. Some people know how to use it the right way or don't even realize that they are using it the right way because that's just how they are, naturally silent individuals. Others need some time picking up on the art of it and why, sometimes, instead of answering or talking, letting your silence speak for itself does a good job of turning a situation around. If you've noticed, there are quite a few people who are massively successful and they all seem to have one common ground. They have mastered the art of silence. Let's take a look at what makes silence such a deadly, silent tool and why it's important. Just before, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to download your free book to change your life by clicking on the link in the description below the video. Number 1. Attracting attention. Have you ever noticed how the whole class suddenly starts paying attention to your teacher when they stop talking? Maybe you're in a group setting instead and the presenter is talking and everyone's mind has started to wander, including yours, and suddenly there is silence from the front of the room. Doesn't the entire room suddenly become more focused and involved in the present? This is because the silence acts as a signal to the brain that something is wrong, that there was a ceaseless communication before, and now there isn't anymore. You and everyone else in the room needs to figure out the reason for it. This applies to your everyday life as well. If you have someone in front of you that's refusing to pay you attention, and you can see in their face that their mind is elsewhere, but you need them to listen to you, your silence can do the trick. It could tell the other person that something isn't right. 2. The obvious response. Human beings tend to over-explain things. When we are trying not to offend someone, we tend to talk a bit too much and actually end up sounding worse than we mean to. Instead, if the response to a question is silence, the answer becomes obvious. The implication of no is strictly present and no harsh words are exchanged in the process. You also don't end up explaining stuff more than you need to. This can also be true when the other person is the one who is being offensive. If they say something you can never agree with, instead of getting into an argument with them, you can simply choose not to respond. This does a much better job of communicating to the person that their opinion isn't well received rather than getting into a conversation where they try to prove you wrong even though you know you won't change your mind. 3. An act of empathy. Silence can be a way of showing your empathetic side to another. It can be used to show that you understand what the other person is going through and you are there beside them. We don't always have the right words for when someone is struggling with something or when someone has issues that they have a hard time dealing with. Our advice, no matter how earnest, might not be well received in this situation. However, silence is appreciated in this case. Just staying by the person and letting them talk their heart out while you listen to them can be a source of strength for them, and you won't come across as an insensitive person. 4. The polite choice. We live in a world where there is constant noise all around us. Amidst the sound from the radio, TV, computers, phones, or just people talking around you, silence becomes a rarity. While we are surrounded by noise, it seems like we don't really get to talk to one another. And when we do get to have a conversation, we tend to try to talk about everything all at once. If we are silent in these situations and let the other person speak first, actually listen to them properly, and then respond to them, we show them we truly care for what they think and feel. 5. Silence allows you to think. The time you spend not talking or doing anything is also the time you spend naturally thinking. A good example would be when someone asks you for a favor that would require you to go way out of your comfort zone, but you end up saying yes to it without thinking as soon as they ask, because that's the kind of person you are. If you don't answer almost immediately and actually mull over the question, you would be able to remember why you shouldn't do the favor and why it's a bad idea, which would let you either say no or respond with a better suggestion than saying yes and going through a lot of stress. Just letting yourself think for a bit before answering another person would let you evade situations that can end up being a bad idea for everyone involved. You might actually end up resenting the person because of how agreeing to a favor had led you to be stressed, or the other person might end up losing trust in you because you didn't do what they asked of you correctly. Silence also prevents you from responding in a way that might seem offensive. If someone is saying something to you, and you take the time to form the right sentence in your head before you say something, you can avoid so many misunderstandings. The better you are at communicating, the more chance you have of other people liking your presence. 6. The integrity of your choices. Silence doesn't only allow you to think carefully, but it allows you to land on a more decisive conclusion about what you want to do in a situation. The longer you take the time to ponder your actions, the more you are sure of them, though, of course, some situations require you to make decisions in seconds rather than hours. You don't have to spend your time second-guessing everything you do after you've made a decision out loud. You already know you want to do this no matter what. You've weighed the pros and cons, and know this is the right choice, and you are going into this completely determined. You don't have to worry about regretting it later on. Your decisions are made, and they won't be changed. You will see a visible change in how people react to you because of it. They will know that your choices have a reason, and will learn to respect it. Why do you think that happens? Because a decisive person always fulfills the promise they made. Regardless of whether you say no or yes in a situation, it is something you will stick with no matter what, and the kind of new options given to you. They know they can always count on you to keep to your word. And someone who keeps their promises is always respected. The people around you will have more faith in your abilities and depend on you more. Silence can be just the thing you need to cement a strong relationship with everyone around you. 7. It's liberating. It's not only professional success that you can achieve through silence. Once you grow used to silence, it lets you become a much more clear-headed person. Your brain gets a small part of you that is free and likes thinking, free of worries, and is not followed by anxiety. We are being bombarded with so much information every day, we have no idea how to deal with it or how to separate all those bits and pieces of information that might not even be directly related to us at the moment. However, as you let yourself experience silence, even if it is for a few seconds, you get the chance to let your mind wander somewhere far away that doesn't have to be filled with what you should be doing or what you are supposed to do. Instead of worrying about the things you should be getting done, some of those few moments of precious silence can be spent just letting yourself enjoy the peace. The silence can be used to think about things that make you happy, rather than only focusing on things that give you too much to worry about every second. Your pressing commitments can wait for just a little longer, until you feel a little less tired and more prepared to do what you have to do after you have let the silence recharge you. This is how a lot of successful people have learned to balance their life. The pressure you experience daily can quickly lead you down a negative spiral, and before you know it, you are an anxious mess. The silence brings you back from those extreme moments of anxiety. However, you will have to first learn how to redirect your thoughts and focus on the good parts that come with silence, not the worries. Just let the world go a little and think about yourself alone. Think about what you have achieved and how much more you want to achieve, and how thinking about what you are capable of makes you so very excited for the future. Let the silence recharge you, so you can tackle the day with a lot more enthusiasm and determination. 8. Better concentration power. It's not just that silence gives you the opportunity to relax or think clearly, it can also help you become a much more attentive person. Through silence, your skills and interests can be fine-tuned. To achieve results, you need to be able to concentrate solely on it, and silence lets you just do that. When you are purposefully silent, when you take the time to actually not talk and just think, focus on very specific thoughts, your concentration power also increases. As we said before, for some people it's simply hard to be silent. Most people, even if they are not talking with another person, they end up playing games on their computer or even reading a book. It's simply hard to sit still and think of nothing and everything. That's an ability a lot of us haven't been able to gain. The act of doing absolutely nothing might just be the most challenging task you will face. However, once you do learn how to just sit still and not let your hands wander to the nearest device or object that will allow you to concentrate on something else, you are allowing the concentrated power of your brain to become more engaged. Forced silence compels you to focus on a single specific task. It makes you concentrate on being silent, and as you learn to mindfully be silent, you also learn how to concentrate on the very act of, well, concentrating. Eventually, all of it becomes a natural part of your life. Final thoughts. We know silence isn't easy for everyone. Some of us are too impulsive, too eager to respond when faced with the prospect of a conversation. Some of us are also simply bad at gauging when it's better to respond and when it's the right time to stay silent. Well, there isn't much you can do about it other than go through some trial and error. Let your analytical skills guide you for when you think it would be a good time to speak up or when it's the right moment to employ the power of silence. Eventually, you would be able to find the perfect balance. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to the channel. You're also free to receive the new book, 7 Secrets to Change Your Life Now, by clicking on the link in the description below the video.